Hello. So yeah, this will be the only like proper YouTube intro I'll ever do for reacts. We're gonna have to do them all today. I'm raising money for charity from the American Heart Association. They kind of went a little crazy, and I have to wear some costumes, and this costume is my favorite food, ketchup. So yeah, this was the $400 goal. We're already at 500 where I have to take an IQ test. So if you guys want to participate, we're going to be raising money on my Twitch stream all week. So stop by. There'll also be a link down below for you guys to donate to the American Heart Association. But we have a react today. It is LevelCapGaming. We're gonna watch a couple reacts on people's reactions to the Chris Roberts post on Spectrum. So this one is from LevelCap, and it's titled "Chris Roberts Explains Star Citizen's Issues."
Yesterday, Chris Roberts hopped on the Star Citizen Spectrum forum to deliver some very welcome information about what's been going on with Star Citizen's latest patch, and even a little bit of maybe hidden info about what to expect from, say, Squadron 42.
Oh, really?
Now, Chris Roberts has gone from being a more regular figure on a podcast-like show about Star Citizen to a more behind-the-scenes director of the game, so it's less frequent that we actually...
That was the perfect clip.
Get to hear from him directly, but when we do, it's usually about big ticket items, and yesterday was exactly that. Content creator and streamer Tarada, who is well known for his extremely impressive flying skills and cinematic videos, made a lengthy post about quality of life features that he and his community would like to see in the game. All of his suggestions are absolutely spot on, and awesomely Chris responded to his post, which is unusual. Firstly, he complimented Tarada on his comment.
He's only done this once before in the last like 5 years, and it was to Comerl, who was it about hex codes, I believe. I think that's what that post was about. And guess what they've done with hex codes? Yeah, nothing. So
content, and then dove into a very interesting explanation of why things have been so problematic since the 3.18 patch where persistence was added to the game. His response reads as follows: "This year has been an especially difficult one in terms of stability and quality of life due to the rollout of persistent entity streaming in 3.18. The whole way we track and record state of the universe changed dramatically, which also changed the way we handle the data in the backend in the cloud. Because of how we record state with PES, we needed to switch to a different kind."
Guys, PES is so awesome that our game doesn't work. Is that awesome? I don't know.
Of backend database, so we moved from a SQL relational database to a graph database. Unfortunately, the graph database we selected, despite being one of the best rated ones and intended for enterprise scale, has had major issues at load, causing the database to lock up and all the queries from the game servers to stall out. This happened on the 3.18 launch, where it took a lot of effort to stabilize, including some engineering on our side to lessen the load on the database. We thought,
so they went with a third-party database software, which is totally normal. Making your own would be insane, from my understanding of what everyone's been saying, and it didn't work. But do they not have these bugs on other enterprise databases? You know what I mean? So what about Star Citizen that is causing the problems? You know?
we had this issue solved, but the most recent version of the database software was a step backwards, and we've had additional lockups at load, which was happening for periods on Wednesday, just after we launched the 3.20 patch, and on Thursday, Friday, and very briefly on Saturday. We rolled back to an older version and disabled some of the features last night that we suspect may be contributing to the instability. Ironically, we think the replication to mirror databases for full redundancy is a culprit to the database lockups. This looks to have stabilized things.
Now, any hyper nerds in chat with like database nerds, they're not talking about replication layer. They're talking about some database backend that is like backing up the database, correct? SQL database engineer here. It's not the tool, it's how they use it. Yeah, of course. That's what I'm saying. Like, we're really pointing the blame on the database exclusively in his post. But if other people at enterprise scale aren't dealing with the issue, it's got to, what percentage is CIG's fault? There's got to be some. Like, come on. It seems like very much passing the buck because they couldn't possibly be like, sorry, guys. We know you dealt with this in 318 and 319, but this time it's not our fault.
The backend database getting
You
into a
know?
bad state manifests in multiple ways too, infinitely spinning inventory
Really, this info should have been part of the postmortem. It couldn't be because it didn't happen until after.
windows, missing items, and degrading game performance.
But it happened, I guess it happened in 318. Did they mention this database thing? They did. They said it, they talked about the third party database software.
We went with an
believe it was
off-the-shelf
mentioned.
enterprise-level database for stability and resilience, as there's already a lot of new tech in Star Citizen, so as frustrating as the software that should have been rock solid is the biggest offender in making Star Citizen's experience even more unreliable. We have the top engineers from the database company working on this, and we are also assessing other databases to switch to if the unreliability of the current solution continues.
I had a YouTube comment in my react to this, and I think it was pretty interesting. It was kind of telling that they think that Chris coming out publicly on his own forum that can you even read the forums if you're not a backer now? Like, there's some weird, the forums are weird now. Like, this is some announcement to the company that they're in hot water, that we're going to leave you. So I don't think that that's necessarily the case, but what everyone was saying is these can be $1 million plus a year contracts. So CIG leaving them, that's a lot of money out of their pocket, obviously.
Way or another, we intend to have this solved in the very near term, and the game coming back to 3.17.x stability levels. Now, his statement goes on, but I want to interject here and sort of commiserate with Chris on this. Star Citizen is such a crazy ambitious project that they've had to more or less develop all of the underlying tech for their game. Sure, the game started on the CryEngine, then migrated to Lumberyard, which is an evolution of the CryEngine for the Amazon Web Service integration, but they've ultimately had to do so much work to the engine to get it to simulate, an entire universe that it really became the Star Engine at this point, and there just isn't really anything out there built to support what this game...
I'm pretty sure like we've heard them call it Star Engine or have seen the words Star Engine like in their, like when they show the back end or whatever.
Actually needs, so they just have to make it themselves.
But Star Engine is still made out of wood. Okay?
And when they
Just
try to
like
make life easier on themselves by taking an already trusted graph database software and integrate it to the engine, the third-party software fails under the load of the game. It really sucks because Star Citizen critics are so hard on this game for making slow progress, but it's rarely recognized that the game has to invent all of its tech just to exist. I hope they don't have to write their own database software for this game and that they can get it working on the software that they're paying for, but again,
I think there's a 0% chance they're going to be writing the database software, and they're probably just going to need to figure out a better solution, or we're back to the drawing board all over again,
scalability
boys.
has been the Achilles heel of Star Citizen, and if this database can't handle it, it doesn't sound like it's going to be a quick fix. Then again, I don't really know the details of running a giant game database, and Chris seems to think that they could have it solved in the very near term. But
yes, Chris, of all people, we should believe that Chris knows when things are going to be done. Hold on, I locked Emmy out of the house. I had to go to the car to get the
Also,
costume.
you're trying to burn down our house?
What do you mean? She just called me a clown. But yeah, we're really going to believe Chris knows when things are going to be done. Come on.
Again, that is Chris estimating a timeline, so that could mean just about anything. He then goes on to say this: "We are also very focused on improving quality of life, both annoying bugs that have been around for way too long and some things that we need
Sound bug still in the game
to address to make the experience fun and welcoming. Your list is great in this respect, as a lot of your suggestions are on our to-do list. We did get some quality of life."
A lot of your suggestions are on our to-do list. Oh, you know what? I'm so glad they're on your list. Where on the list? After all the ship sales, hey, doesn't matter. We got to push to live because we got this new exciting thing coming. That's just a ship sale. Come on,
life
man.
fixes in 3.20, like
We
the
really
QT
buying this
HUD
shit
being
anymore?
lined up properly, but not nearly as much as the team or I would like. We will be working on knocking out bugs and improving quality of life pretty continuously from here on out. There's a lot of great tech and features that we're bringing into Star Citizen from Squadron 42 that will dramatically change the feel and polish of Star Citizen. For instance, a lot of your suggestions on the game's comfort and readability have been addressed in the changes we made for Squadron 42. The plan has always been to bring this work into Star Citizen. Squadron 42 was just...
Bro, how... The UIs... They fixed the UI multiple times in the PU, and it's still never been readable. So, like, I don't believe you. I don't believe you, bro.
just a good way for us to focus and really polish the feel and use it.
Mining UI. That's all I got to say. They literally had an opportunity to update the mining UI, and they added more information, but it still looks like shit.
Ability without the pressure of maintaining functionality as we iterated on it for the always live environment of the PU. We've now hit an inflection point in Squadron 42's development that allows us to start bringing this work into Star Citizen in the near future. I'm very excited for Citizen.
Like, he took an opportunity to jump on a content creator's upset post and do the same thing that they always do. Soon. I expect something to be available really soon, in the near future. And everybody just puts some ketchup on it and eats up the bullshit.
CitizenCon, as we will be sharing a lot of these features and more. It'll be great to be in front of the crowd and spending time with the community.
Yeah, guys, we're going to share these features at CitizenCon. We're going to show you them. Are they going to be on our client? Are we going to be using them?
In person. It's been 4 years since the last in-person CitizenCon. So this final bit from Chris is very interesting, and perhaps we can read between the lines here as to what it actually means regarding Squadron 42's progress. When Chris says we've now hit an inflection point in Squadron 42's development that allows us to start bringing this work into Star Citizen in the near future, that actually says a whole lot. Looking at it from a developer point of view, if it takes a long time to migrate features from one game to another, well, you don't want to migrate those features until they're completely finished, so that you only have to do it once. Lots of reports from CIG and other sources have suggested that Squadron 42 is entering a much more completed state and potentially getting prepared for an actual release.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's been a meme for a long time now,
Still
but
is.
this time the information seems to be adding up.
It's going to be a meme until it's not, okay? The information can add up all we want. Guys, people in this community have been adding up the information for 10 years. And every single time, some idiot who's adding up the information says Star Citizen's going to be done in 2 years. Okay? Come on.
With a lot more supporting evidence. When Chris said that we'll be working on knocking out bugs and improving quality of life pretty continuously from here on out, that sounds great as well. For the longest time,
we've heard this multiple times over the course of the last 5 years.
General sentiment behind Star Citizen's development was to add features and just move forward with little regard for the quality of life and polish of those features. However, as the game inches closer to having its core...
And I agree with Level there, is their actions have been moved forward with little regard to the live service aspects of the game. But there have been many statements over the years with staggered development and other things where the communication to the player base was that we actually care about the game being a live service. We want to take care of the live build a little bit more. Quality of life changes. This is not the first time. Okay, this is not the first time.
Tech in a more complete state, and many players actually treating the persistent universe like a live service game, it makes sense that CIG may actually be in a position to spend some time on the health of the game rather than just racing towards the next semi-functional feature. The small things like the quantum jump heads-up display being properly lined up now makes a huge difference in the overall perception of the game and accessibility. A lot of veteran players have figured out how to play Star Citizen despite the extreme bugs and glitches, and we almost don't notice them sometimes because we're so used to working around them. And
I noticed them, but I think we all noticed them, but it's just like, let's move on. They're never going to change this. We've literally just accepted the reality that they don't give a shit. Again, for people coming in late, why am I a bottle of ketchup? Just look down below me. We're raising money for charity. This was the $400 goal, was to show my Halloween costume and wear it for the rest of the stream, which is a bottle of ketchup, my favorite food. If you want to donate, !donate in chat.
I think we tend to forget that a lot of these
below the stream is all the goals that we can get to. The next goal is
little issues that we're just so used to dealing with are actually hard blockers for most new players. Terada made a long list of things that this game could use, and I'm sure he was holding back and keeping it to the most important stuff, because the quality of life things that Star Citizen needs are massive. The devs could probably spend a year easily just fixing everything that's not really working as intended, and I think
an entire patch cycle should be dedicated each year on quality of life. I think no new features added, only bug fixes. That's it.
A lot of players who have been flying around the verse for a while recognize that what's in the game currently actually is quite a fun experience.
It is.
If you're not constantly dealing with all the bugs and glitches.
I enjoy the current experience more than any other that I've ever played. I literally just hit it back to the start. Oh my god. No. I found it.
For a while, recognize that what's in the game currently actually is quite a fun experience if you're not constantly dealing with all the bugs and glitches. Imagine if they launched Xenothreat without any sort of bugs or performance issues. It would probably be a fantastic event, but it's...
I mean... partly. The actual actions in the event are cool and make sense, but once you've done it 14 times, it's the story of Xenothreat doesn't even make sense anymore.
Always buggy, and it's always glitchy, so players don't really look forward to it. If CIG really does intend to work on improving quality of life pretty continuously from here on out, it could be great for the game. But of course, that all sounds great. First, they have to fix those massive database issues and server stability.
They have to do something. They can't just keep saying they're going to do things.
We'll see what the future holds. Hopefully, it holds a Squadron 42 launch. What do you guys think we're going to see at CitizenCon coming up at the end of October? Maybe a Squadron 42 release date announcement, or is it still too soon? Let me know in the comments, and next up, check out my patch 3.20 first impressions video here. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap signing off.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I think most content creators are going to read what Chris said and be like, okay, and read it off. And Level did that for the most part, but was also kind of like, all right, well, let's see. We'll have to see what they actually do. For me, it's like, I don't care to read it anymore. Everything Chris says there is all great. It's something we'd like to see, but it just comes down to actually doing those things, right?